Hello everyone. Now, the actual topic of the video starts at this timestamp, but he said the line, I got a funny story before we actually start this video, actually. So, shortly after I finished my review on Y2K, a Postmodern RPG's new update a few months back, I wanted to find, like, another RPG to play as kind of a palate cleanser. I love the update, but, like, Yik takes a lot out of you, you know? And I noticed this game that a friend gifted me once and really wanted to watch me try, so I played through this, and then I started playing this, and I was like, oh, the game takes place in 1999, or at least starts in 99. I'm like, and then I was like, oh, this game also features a protagonist that sees the world differently due to the RPGs he grew up with as a kid. And then the more I kept playing this, the more, like, illusions I just kept seeing between this game and Yik. Like, there's a quest where, like, there's a side quest where like, Ichiban gets, like, a dead girlfriend, like a ghost girl, and I'm like, oh, who does that remind me of? Like, just, there's so many weird, oddly specific, like, similarities between this and Yik. After a while, I started calling it Yakuza, like a tiny, Yakuza, like a dragon as a joke. Like a tiny is another in joke, but like, that's like, I just thought it was like the funniest thing. I like this game. This is not the normal RPG I typically sink a lot of time into. RPGs this big tend to stress me out a lot, but I ended up really enjoying this one. I love the characters, the story was really engaging. This party has, like, some of the best camaraderie I've ever seen out of, like, an RPG in a while. It's like, another kind of similarity I saw is that Ichiban also has that thing where he kind of sees his friends as just party members. But, like, unlike with Alex, they're kind of into it. Like, they're here for the ride the whole way. It's like, you can tell these guys have a lot of fun together. Like, there's a lot of genuine friendship here. This is a party I tried to... This was my favorite, like, setup right here, combined with, like, these classes as well. Fortune Teller and Breaker and Gambler, specifically, were my three favorites. With... Oh, man, look at him go. With Namba as a chef, because of course I would use a chef in my party. Chef's weird. It's more like a... Chef is typically like a paladin type of character, but the chef in this game doesn't really have healing spells, so it's not really... Okay, I'm getting off topic. So, like, the enemies in this game are called Sujimon. I think it's short for, like, super jittery men or something. It's weird, and, they're basically, like, just funny Pokemon, but if they were just men. And I noticed each and every one of these has a funny description. And I thought it'd be fun to read them all, because I tend to like making videos like this. So you know what? Here we go. Burnout Bully. A businessman who works for a shady company. The crushing stress of work has brought out his violent side. Capitalist Punisher. A bad-tempered businessman who recklessly picks fights and then demands compensation. He's really strapped for cash. They'll have animations you can play as well. And voice lines. I had my voices in English. I tend to be more comfortable with I tend to be more comfortable with subs over dubs, just because I'm not, like, the fastest reader when I'm trying to pay attention to the cutscenes. I don't like my eyes having to glance all the way down. That and, like, I grew up on PlayStation-era dubbing. A bad dub is not immersion-breaking for me. I hear that's kind of sacrilege for this series, though. Like, a lot of fans really prefer to play this game in Japanese, but... Oh yeah, for context, this was my first Yakuza game as well. I'm invested. Like, I do want to play more of these at some point now. This seems like to be a very fun series and a very good starting point, especially for someone who doesn't typically play action games. Okay, now we're moving on. Dot combatant. Right off the bat, that is one of my favorite wordplays. There's a lot of good wordplays in these. A shady businessman looking for investment capital. He has a real knack for web design, at least judging by his scam sites. Hammered Head. Wanders town drunk off his ass. Watch out, though, he'll blindly flail a weapon at anyone who gets close. Beer Circer. That's another good one. An even more violent drunk. He's been at the center of many altercations, but apparently doesn't remember a thing. Knight of the Cask. Really into period films. Insists everyone calls him General when drunk. Once he goes wild, nobody can stop him. Urbane Legend. A man known as a hero in many bars. Charms all onlookers with his mysterious party tricks. That like face on his stomach, I think, is a reference to a yokai. Like, there's a monster in Yokai Watch based off the same thing. It's like a... Wait, no, it's not based on yokai. It's based on, like, a little party, funny thing people do where they, like, pretend like their stomach is talking, and there's a yokai and Yokai Watch based on it, too, which is how I know about that. Battle Bum. An stingingly pungent street dweller. Can't do much damage on his own, so he attacks by calling a crowd of his friends. Hungry Homeless. A street dweller who's gotten hungry enough to turn violent. They lose control when they smell food. Ark Vargant. A man who rules over the city's homeless population. Years of attuning to the streets gave him a power to exude any stench. Invested Vagabond. A street survivalist who rarely shows himself. Despite his appearance, he's actually fairly rich. Fun fact, this is the metal slime of the game. Fighting Barker. A devious barker trying to lure customers to a rip-off host club. Tends to target innocent women who he can fast-talk. Hostile Host. A supporting host that works at a rip-off host club. Nobody requests him much, so they have him moonlighting as a barker. Host with the Most. A veteran host of a rip-off host club. He's willing to do whatever it takes to be the best host in town. Heavenly Host. The top host of a rip-off host club. His twisted, egomaniacal outlook makes him a genuine threat. Punkling, the first enemy you fight in the game, I believe. A punk running with a certain gang, used as expendable frontline fodder in their raids. Steamed Punk. A thug known to be a skilled fighter even among his peers, trying to punch his way to the top. Overpunk. A capable punk who's earned the respect of the entire gang. Some call him an icon in the punk world. Mohawk Emperor. A legendary punk who boasts unrivaled strength even among the outlaws. Above all else, hates when his hair wears out. Hands Thrower. An amateur fighter who hones his skills through street fighting. He's been really into MMA lately. WrestleManiac. A professional martial artist affiliated with mysterious underground tournament, excels at grappling over direct strikes. Masquerader. A masked wrestler affiliated with a certain independent group. Even outside the ring, he's an unpredictable, violent threat. Ultimate Champion. Legendary makes a masked wrestler. While he's mastered several martial arts, he claims pro wrestling is his strongest style. Color Gangsman. Part of a group called the Color Gang, always with his crew, fighting to seize or defend turf in the city. Mad Gangsman. One of the guys behind the Color Gang's more destructive endeavors. Carries many self-defense items, such as stun guns. Elite Gangsman. A frontline ace of the Color Gang, knows his way around a fight, quick, brutal, and ready to take his rivals down. Boss Gangsman. Keeps the Color Gang in check. This guy's so tough, he's never lost a one-on-one fight with any of the crew. Tribesmen. Part of an armed group called Tribal that's been expanding their influence in recent years. Also deals in underground business. Tribe's Guard. Something like a bouncer within Tribal. Often seen supervising at the locations of underground business deals. Tribe's Brute. A true warrior among the Tribal. If there's even ever trouble within the group, he quells it himself through sheer force. Tribe's Chief. Some of these designs get really ridiculous. So I always looked forward to finding new enemies in this game. Tribe's Chief. The boss that leads Tribal. The sinuous patterns of his unusual tattoo strikes fear into the hearts of his enemies. Assassin. An agent of the underworld who takes contacts to kill. If you can pull it off, the targets are apparently worth hefty payloads. Primal psychopath. An assassin in a deranged state of mind, convinced he's been targeted, he swings his blade with desperate abandon. One hitman. A skilled assassin said to take out his target with one hit. With a sharp dagger and a keen aim, he goes right for the vitals. The Fist. This assassin feels his life's purpose is to beat his foes down. With every punch thrown, he flies further into his frenzy. Newbie Yakuza. A fresh Yakuza who just joined a minor family, dreams of working his way up the ranks through his criminal deeds. Ornery Yakuza. An out-of-control Yakuza from a lesser-known family, hoping to get scouted by the Omni Alliance. Eloquent Yakuza. An intelligent Yakuza affiliated with a lesser-known family. He secures funds through financial savvy he picked up in college. Oh, hold on, I want to grab something. I might need some water for all this reading I'm going to do today. Grizzled Yakuza. A veteran Yakuza scouted by the Tojo clan, but chose to stick with his minor family. They let him get away with anything. Scarred Yakuza. A heavily scarred Yakuza from a lesser-known family. One look is enough to tell you how much bloodshed he survived. Some other Yakuza. Do you realize how many Yakuza are in the city? Who has the time to categorize all of them? Just take my word for it, they're all Sujimon. Demolitioneer. An unruly worker in a demolition industry, always in a bad mood. He can make a real mess of that hammer. Clobberjack. A worker that keeps starting fights at the demolition locations. If he doesn't like something, it gets the hammer. Sledgehammer. That's a good name, too. A dangerous worker with destructive urges and a hammer, liable to start wrecking anything he sets his eyes on. Batterer out of hell. A mysterious wrecker. With his buff arms and brutal strikes, he's determined to crush anything in his path. Pro pickpocket. A criminal who subtly sneaks wallets out of the pockets of passerby. You might never ever even notice you've been hit. Break-and-entryman. I kind of like that name a lot, actually. A criminal who illegally enters buildings and steals valuables, has ties to a certain organized thief group. Cut purse. That's just a ninja. A bandit with an old-fashioned look uses mysterious techniques to confuse his mark before taking their valuables. I once heard this funny joke about ninjas. It's like, what if Japan actually had the worst ninjas in the world because all other countries have ninjas, but they're just so good you never hear about them? King of Thieves. Descendant of an infamous thief from the Azuchi Momoyama period. Steals from the wicked and gives to the poor. Chinese Mafioso. Fighter from a Chinese mafia, armed with a vicious claw. He slices his foes to ribbons. Little known about this enemy, and also, this game takes place in Japan. When you run into enemies, it will give all enemies these, randomly generated Japanese names, just to kind of add to the world building, I guess. But when you fight enemies like this and other enemies from Chinatown, they give them randomized Chinese names instead. I think that's a nice detail. There's even, some American enemies that get, randomized American names, too. That's really funny. I know this game is a sequel that takes place in Hawaii. I want to try at some point. I'm expecting to see a lot more randomized American names out of that as well. Or, Hawaiian names, too. Well, Hawaii is America, but you know what I mean. Chinese Mafia Officer. Officer of a Chinese Mafia. Swift and powerful enough to bring his foes to the ground and sink his claws into their vitals. Chinese Mafia Boss. The boss of a Chinese mafia. His unique claws are lethal enough, but a coating of venom makes them deadlier. Kung Fu Disciple. A student of Chinese martial arts, hired by an organized crime group. He works for them as a bouncer. Kung Fu Master. After long years of training, this man has become a true master of Kung Fu. That's probably the most generic description yet. Quiguan, I'm not quite sure how you say that. Quiguan Master, an elder who has learned not only Kung Fu, but the art of Quiguan. His techniques look like psychic abilities to the untrained. Dragon King, a legendary martial artist. After years of rigorous exercise and ascetic practice, his body has become as tough as steel. Pressured Cooker, chef that works at a Chinese restaurant with a bad rep, ready to kick the ass off anyone who criticizes his cooking. Mystery Meatsmith, this shady cook's food is made of ingredients. Those who meet him tend to mysteriously go missing afterwards. Oh, he's the chef from Harvester, okay. Ironclad Chef, a head chef who keeps his rowdy kitchen crew in line, an absolutely abysmal cook, but a deft master of the knife. Shruggler. These ones are funny. Doesn't care about getting permission for his performances. Things get ugly if anyone tries to disrupt his show. Thuggler. A street performer who juggles knives. Many have lodged complaints against him, especially after his antics get people injured. Druggler. A bizarre street performer who juggles drug torches. He seems to enjoy the thrill of playing with fire. Juggle-O! A legendary street performer who handles burning torches. A deviant who thrills in the sound of onlookers screaming. Slasher. An unhinged psycho who slashes at passerby with a knife. In terms of physical strength, he's not that capable. Paralyticist. That's a stun gun in his hand. Sneaks behind passerby and knocks them unconscious with a stun gun. Keeps a lot more self-defense tools on him too. Black Blade, an unknown slasher at the center of a number of violent incidents. Eyewitnesses all call him the Man in Black. Dismemberer. One of the more gruesome designs in this game. A dangerous butcher inspired by serial killers from gory horror films. Has a day job at a meat factory. This also reminds me of a character from Harvester. Actually, okay, you don't fight this guy, but there's a character in this game who's just like a movie slasher, and his name is Jason. Like, it's spelled like Jeis-san, like a traditional Japanese name, but said phonetically in English, it's Jason, because he looks like Jason from the horror movie. Jack the Ripper, descendant of the legendary slasher who struck fear into all of England, slices into opponents with inhuman ferocity. Quackpot, half-asses medical exams and rips off his patients. Those who complain get silenced with violence and cruelty. Oh, watch out! Heartless Surgeon. This autonomist has had his medical license revoked due to his connections with the criminal underworld. Uses various drugs. Dr. Black, an infamous back alley doctor of the underworld. He's mastered a multitude of medical disciplines, a god with a scalpel. Sneak Attack, I like that name a lot. A sly acupuncturist with a penchant for pranking his patients. Sticks needles into entirely unnecessary places. Pierceologist. It sounds like it would be an actual class in like a more traditional RPG. An acupuncturist studying body modifications through acupuncture points. When things get dicey, he sticks needles in himself. Mad Casey. A perverted acupuncturist that loves hidden cameras. Has a paid stream for voyeurs to watch him work on his patients. I'm just noticing that for whatever reason, their description, you can see in the bottom right there, it's called features. I'm not sure if that's the best word to describe their bio, but okay. This design freaks me out a little. Weltraiser, a pierceologist who has succeeded in the ultimate body modification. He no longer feels external pain. Dine and Dasher. Part of the Dine and Dash group talked about around town. They're so strong, restaurants can't do much to stop them. Snack and Sprinter, part of the Dine and Dash group, and an acclaimed speed eater. He's gone before the waiters. He's gone before the waiters even realize he's eaten. High carb loading. Chomp and Charger. This design makes me a little uncomfortable, I'm gonna be honest. This is like the most... It's not because it's an American stereotype and I'm American. Like, this is a funny design, but I think it's the giant meat. It just feels like it would be very gross to get hit by. I don't know. A glutton who bumbles around looking for fatty foods. If he gets even a little too hungry, the berserker rage kicks in. Noblesse Obesity. A devotee of all things meat, this scourge of the buffet line deflects all kinds of attacks with a protective layer of thick blubber. So he's Mr. Potsdam from Harvester. Why do 3 enemies in this game remind me of characters from Harvester? Oh my god. Hit Journeyman. That's a cool word. A hitman who shoots from afar with a bowgun. He's still learning, and frankly, he's not a great shot. Urban Ranger. A man who chooses to have no home but the mean city streets, loves to hunt with his bowgun. Notorious VIP. A top-notch hitman. He's a big name among his peers in the underworld. Hates having people stand behind him. Gilliam. Every polygon in the game is on this man. A mysterious hitman who stays hidden in a ghillie suit. Pops unexpectedly out of the underbrush to make his move. Military buffed. An extreme military otaku. Typically found wandering around loaded up with tons of dangerous equipment. One-man army. An otaku who sees himself as the hero the city needs. Definitely been watching too many war movies, but surprisingly competent. Master and Commando. A mercenary who whose kill count on the battlegrounds all across the... Wait. A mercenary who kill counts on battlegrounds all across the world. Now that he's home, he's got all kinds of underworld contracts. Arminator. An enigmatic assassin. Rumors say that he's something more than human, created in a military lab. Biker Cavalier. Causes noise pollution with modded bikes and cars. Oh, my least favorite. There used to be a lot more of them around, but they're in decline. Biker Vanguard. The more reckless guy in the most reckless guy the biker gang's got. Excels at charging into enemy territory, even knowing it's suicidal. Biker Boss. The boss that keeps the gang in line. Many view him as an icon, but he's been thinking about retirement a lot lately. Stern Stranger. Came to Japan to make money, but found criminal distractions instead. Showing up a lot in the business quarters at night. Big Dog. A bouncer who accompanies foreigners making illegal deals. Thanks to his size, most people know him simply as Big Dog. The Bouncer. A bouncer at a club that's a hub for shady dealings. Tough enough that nobody's seen him lose a fight. Yet I've defeated 5 of them. Big Payback. A mysterious contractor called in by mafias to exact revenge. Punches foes down until they stop moving. Oh, that one's kind of creepy. Technomancer. That's a really cool word, too, and another thing I'm surprised isn't like an actual class in more RPGs. Part of a group with excellent computer tech and hacking skills, they wear masks to keep themselves anonymous. Most likely a reference to Anonymous as well. Actually, I know one of the recolors is named Nameless, which might even be more of a direct reference to Anonymous. Black Hat Wizard. A respected authority among the hackers. Plucks national secrets from the internet and leaks them to the underworld. Nameless. A shadowy hacker capable of taking control of any network worldwide. Smugglebug. Typically found selling chintzy accessories on the streets, but illegally sells dangerous drugs behind the scenes. The Mule. A smuggler who imports shady drugs from overseas. Has a smuggling contingency plan for every orifice. Scar-faced. Boss of a foreign smuggling business. Also a gifted pharmacologist. He sells and manufactures drugs he himself developed. Look how he's juggling that, like... It looks like a walkie-talkie, but the description is making me think that that might be some kind of drug. It's not even touching his hand. Yo, okay, another thing I like about this game, despite being a AAA game, it feels like... Okay, I hear that this company, or the team behind this game, is really good at making, like, big quality games on a budget. Or at least a budget by, like, big company standards. And as someone who kind of grew up with, like, the PS2 era, where, like, little seams like that were, like, way more common, it felt, like, a little nostalgic playing this even. Like, it kind of reminded me of an older RPG from, like, the PS2 or like, Xbox era. Seriously, this game's real good, dude. Like, it's... False alarmist. Causes traffic accidents on purpose and demands compensation, which is then wasted at the nearest gambling hall. Phony bookie. Runs his own private bookmaking business and makes a killing. Great at confusing customers with half-assed predictions. Master gambler. Look at all the money in his shirt. An incredibly lucky man at a gambling gambler seemingly on an eternal winning streak. His predictions have never been wrong. Poser. A man who takes inspiration from the foreign rapper lifestyle, but has absolutely no rapping ability, particularly about his looks. Freestylist. A skilled freestyle rapper, he can dish out rhythm and pain in equal measure, even at the same time. This is another kind of enemy I'm surprised I don't see more in games. Like, a rapper is kind of a funny concept for an enemy. I remember one of his attacks is, like, he, like, disses you when it lowers your stats. That's really funny. Like, diss tracker. Focuses on dissing his opponent. Since he totally ignores rhythm or flow, though, it's basically plain old verbal abuse. King Joe. A legend of the street dancing world. His moves are so sublime, nobody can turn down a chance to dance with him. Pimp Master. A devious douchebag who deceives innocent women and sells them into the sex industry, formerly a run-of-the-mill punk. Roguish recruiter. Lies about being from a major pub production company to sell girls into the sex industry. Prowls places with lots of foot traffic. Shakedowner. Man who goes around collecting debts on orders from the man-eating loan shark. Runs down and threatens all debtors. Man-eating loan shark is another good name, too. A malicious moneylender who loans out cash with absurd interest rates and then corners debtors. Values money over life. Bomb bug. Sneaks into empty or mostly empty buildings and destroys them with exploding bottles. Carries a lot. Skilled with fire. Isonist. A criminal who carries liquid nitrogen around to freeze random things. Loves freezing and collecting living creatures. Bombardier. This terrorist tries to bomb places with his homemade explosives. Owing to poor quality, though, many of them end up duds. Escapist. This is another enemy that kind of makes me uncomfortable. Like, something about that pose and how, like... Okay, like, a lot of characters move... enemies, like, move a lot in this game. He just stands there, though. Like, it's kind of creepy. Like, something about this enemy just feels too realistic to me. Was locked away for years after a theft, but has now escaped. Unable to take prison life, extremely quick to flee. Feral felon. Once locked away for heinous crimes, the depth of his cruelty earned him special restraints, but he's broken free. Twisted mind. A legendary eccentric serial killer and most wanted criminal, has a very high IQ and skilled at psychological manipulation. Unboxer. A punk of a membership at a boxing gym, uses his newly learned boxing skills in street fights. Head guardian. Once a wannabe, he's stepping up his game and improving his defenses. That equipment is technically gym property. Prized fighter. A former pro boxer who has had his license revoked for cause of assault. or causes of assault. He currently works as a bouncer in the underworld. The Death Knuckle! Look at those hands! Equipped with the GBHG, the deadliest weapon in the underground arena. This boxer's overwhelming power breaks guards. Hollow Follower. I have been told this enemy and his recolors are a reference to, like, a subplot in a previous Yakuza game, but of course, again, this was my first Yakuza, so I don't recognize them, but it's still a fun enemy. Like, these guys stick out to you when you first meet them with, like, this creepy motion they're doing at all times. Just punches you, though. Follower of a shady religious group that worship a chicken as their god. Received a special baptism from the founder. Shady Minister. Minister of a shady religious group that worships a chicken as their god. Attracts new acolytes through charisma and rhetoric. Oh, it said worships there too. I just misread that. Fishy Founder. Founder of a shady religious group that worships a chicken as their god. Sprouts poultry-inspired revelations. Or spouts poultry-inspired revelations, i.e. bullshit. Moonnugget Messiah. The living god of a shady religious group that worships a chicken, said to lay miraculously immaculately conceived eggs. Spirited Medium. A man attuned to a mysterious spiritual power. He can commune with ghosts, or even let them possess his body. Blind Seer. A man who has psychic powers unexplainable by modern science. Uses psychokinesis to hamper his opponent's movements. Mr. Six. A professor who studies psychic ability and awareness of, and awakened his sixth sense. Controls powers beyond human understanding. Still just kicks you. Pocketing Watchman. A corrupt guard who steals from the various establishment he's guarding. Any witnesses get a faceful of baton. Officer of the Lawless. A charlatan, you don't see that word actually spelled very often, dressed as a lawman, part of a burglary ring that invades and robs homes while on patrol. False Security. Part of a group of thieves, masquerading as security officers. They creep up on bank transport vehicles and drives off with them. Subjugation Coon! That's another good name! It's just a robot! A next-generation security developed by a security company. Some models were stolen and reprogrammed. Baseball Diehard. The Shark Stars. An overzealous fan of his... An overzealous fan. If his team loses, he flies into a frenzy, rioting in the streets. Gentle as a lamb when they win, though. Rabble-rouser. A more extreme variety of baseball fan. Post-match rioting is basically guaranteed, whether out of triumph or rage. Massacre Mascot. A rioter wearing the team's mascot mask, wielding a Molotov. This faceless agent of chaos spreads panic in his community. Also, I'm gonna... quick pause, just to split up the video. On a side note, how do you think that hat stays on his head? Shade Thrower. A pitcher on an aggressive Sandlotter team. He hurls more verbal abuse than pitches, quick to resort to violence. Hands Catcher. A catcher on an aggressive Sandlotter team. He injures opposing team members with forceful blocking, has high defenses. Assaulting Batter. That's another good name. A fast foreign batter from an aggressive Sandlotter team. He takes the field when things get dicey for his teammates. Somebody swings the bat. Oh, let's go! Guys, it's the batter from Off. Purger of Filth! Obsessed with cleanliness. Has an urge to cleanse anyone who falls below his standards of sanitation. Pest control freak. Determined to rid the city of all pests. Always ready to flood his immediate surroundings with toxic pesticides. Broken Brakeman. A civil engineer for a shady company that is yet to pay him, now resorts to shakedowns just to make ends meet. The Dark Sweeper. A transcendental custodian has judged humanity to be the scourge of all pollution, seeks to purge them from the earth. Twitchy streamer films whoever he wants for the sake of his livestream without asking permission. Will do anything for clicks. Paparazzo. On the hunt for scandalous pictures of celebrities to sell to the tabloids. Equipped of a high-end telescopic camera. Voyeur Chin. A scumbag who stalks and films women, relies on a on a vast network of hidden cameras and his own cinematography skill. Or cinematographic skill. Creeper Peeper. A former special ops member, now he employs his espionage skills to find out everything about the woman he targets. Skater Boy with an eye. A public nuisance who recklessly skates in places where skateboards are prohibited. Reprimand him and he'll throw down. Trickmaster. Pulls off all kinds of dangerous tricks in public streets. Highly athletic with a daredevil streak. The Wheelman. A skater who's protected his whole body so he can run wild on the road. Even traffic accidents leave him unscathed. New-aged hippie. I'm like 70% confident this is an Earthbound reference. A busker who sings songs of freedom. His eccentric performances confuse more people than they inspire, though. Peacemaker. A street musician who specializes in songs of love. His soothing performances give passerby a certain peace of mind. Bohemiok. I think that's how you're going to say that one. A man who sings and plays songs of peace in the street. His strange performances seem to stop people in their tracks. Shillboard. This is a fun line, too. A human billboard who stands in the street with a sign on him. His hard sell is a little too aggressive, scaring off customers. Killboard. This is one of my favorite names in the game. A salesman who's upgraded his defenses with a reinforced steel billboard. Bullying customers is the least of his offenses. Invulnerable Billboard. A legendary salesman said to have been advertising since the time immemorial. His boards can deflect any kinds of hits. Japan Bleacher. An activist for Bleach Japan. Hasn't quite got the hang of this non-violent protester idea. I wonder what the text up there says. Beefcake. A braggart workout enthusiast. Never wears too much so as not to hide his muscles. Mistakes sick delts for self-esteem. Gym Rat. Devoted his life to bodybuilding. His efforts earned him a truly impressive body, but now he's looking for an equal rival. Brawn Warden. A man who has attained an ultimate body after years of workouts and steroid use. Boasts of his invincibility on the streets. Pompadour. A Pompadour-style thug who wanders the streets. Above all else, hates when anything muses up his hair. I know Japan has, like, a culture, or has, like... I know, like thugs with pompadours, or, like, delinquents with pompadours is, like, a very Japanese thing, and there's, like, 4 enemies here. Well, they also get, like, a little Elvis-inspired later in, too. Rockabillion. A thug who dons rockabilly fashion. Has a real thing for foreign delinquent culture. Johnny Gale. Boss of the Rockabillys. They call him the Gale because he's fast and free as the wind, baby. This is an animation I really like, by the way. Oh, look at him go. Those sound effects are so cute as well. The Twister. Some say he's the founder of the rockabilly world. From the fashion to the ideals, it all began with him. So, oh god, these enemies make me really uncomfortable. City Slicker. A perverted regular of the red light district. Slopping all that lotion around got him banned from quite a few stores. Grease Monk. A sage and mentor of the Red Light District, can manipulate lotion at will and use it to defend himself in sticky situations. Pornographero! A master of all things red light, an infamously big spender, he actually runs his own company by day. Imp Patient. A patient wandering the city after slipping out of the hospital, extremely aggressive, might be wildly hallucinating. Pandemicist. An escaped hospital patient hell-bent on spreading every contagion he carries, resents the healthy. The Outliner. An unfortunate patient in clinical testing for a new drug gone awry. His body will never be the same. Just whacks you with the IV. Oh god, not these guys. Oh yeah, here's another comparison to Yik. They both have a flasher enemy. Why is this game have so many comparisons to Yik? Turncoat Titillator. Hides away from busy areas, waiting to flash unsuspecting passerby. The shock on their face turns him on. False Mobber, or Flash Mobber. Once a diligent doctor, he's now awoken to the thrill of exhibitionism. Inflicting mental and emotional pain gives him ecstasy. Crotchety Geezer. Been cited for indecency countless times, but ran from each charge. Exposed himself in a way that defies all understanding. Nice heels, though. Automoburgular. That's another fun word. A group of thieves that target luxury cars to steal any valuables within, known for forcing doors open with a giant crowbar. Safe Crackpot. Part of a group that sneaks into businesses and robs safes. They've seen all kinds and have a plan for cracking any model. Undertaker. Tasked with cleaning up those killed in the underworld, leaves zero evidence of any body. Some call him the Cemetery Man. Crabby Sentinel. Guards the condemned thrown into underground prisons. Formerly a famous brawler in underground fighting arenas. Peer Reviewer. Secures harborside sites for smuggling operations with the foreign mafia. Trusts in the underworld and an intermediary. Captain Cruncher. A man of unknown age who attacks and pillages fisher boats and cargo ships. Capable of downing a shark with one blow. Slugger. A giant who charges his enemies with a flaming bat. Because of his massive size and reckless, though, he rarely hits. Recklessness. Battering Batter. A giant who charges his enemies with a nail bat. Startlingly agile for his build, he is skilled in surprise attacks. Grand Slammer. A giant man toting a dangerous barbed wire bat. One hit from his weapon is enough to put his victim in critical condition. Eccentricster. An older fellow who spent his life on his hobby of invention. Has been testing his latest creation on passing street punks. Tinker's Man. This old fellow's cooked up all kinds of odd security equipment, but somehow none of them have ever made it to the market. Edison of Anarchy. What a name! An inventor seemingly possessed by his own invention, sees everyone around him as Philistines and tries to destroy them. Dancing Fool. Parties anywhere, anytime, to the point of being a public nuisance. Still, gotta admit, he has a real gift for shuffle dancing. It's displayed here. Beat Dropper. Dances anywhere while blasting EDM at max volume. Never content to dance solo. He tries to get others to join him. Oh, that's another design I don't like very much. A legendary dancer from the golden age of disco. His head-mounted disco ball keeps the funk alive wherever he goes. Restless Otaku. An otaku seeking the touch of an idol's hand, extremely wary of thugs. He braces for a fist fight whenever he sees one. This one has a funny animation, because, like, he does a little dab at the end of his... Okay, from certain angles, that really looks like a dab. Bag Toter. An otaku convinced he has magical powers. Chants bizarre spells when in trouble with thugs. This next one is one of my favorite names in the game. Otaku at Arms. An otaku, fully clad in defensive gear to ward off thugs. Equipped with a +4 mythical badge armor in the glowsmith of smithing. Oh, look at him go. Glowstick claws is a really cool concept. Like, I'm kind of surprised I've never seen that in, like, another fictional character before. Bob Cutter. A stubborn beautician whose solution to any bad hair day is changing it to a bob cut. Has definite skills as a stylist. Fashion policer. A bullheaded designer who tries to force makeovers on those with zero fashion sense. Keeps fabric shears in his hands 24/7. Bonsaianist. An obsessive gardener compelled to prune all vegetation he sees. His head shears can even slice through tree trunks. That's not slicing. Wait. Weapon on. That's a funny design. He's like the sword master from Yu-Gi-Oh, but dumb. Aims to collect every kind of weapon the world has to offer, also looking for an excuse to test the ones on hand. Death Merchant, an arms dealer in the underworld. He figures the best way to test out new inventory is on random passerby. Forsaken Samurai, an armor-clad master of the art of war. Much to his sorrow, he has no place in the world of peace and common ground. Poacher Egghead. A poacher any marine life poaches any marine life within easy reach, often found submerged just nearby the shoreline. Spearheader. A poacher who can stay underwater for quite a long time, uses harpoons to capture fish with a single shot. The Shadow Diver. A mysterious beach diver who works under cover of night. Also infiltrates transport vessels and carries out covert operations. Pseudo-trash. This is a funny one. Lives off dumpster diving. Disguises himself as a trash bag, partly to have first picks of any given load of garbage. Toxic Wasteoid. Suffused with a devastating, overpowering stench. Cultivated over years of generally being a living affront to hygiene. Gifted Gatherer. Built a lucrative and fulfilling life out of collecting valuable trash. He's rather shy, though, so he seldom appears in public. Lord, I was born a rambling man. A folk musician who roams the city singing. Being ignorant to everywhere he goes, however, brings out his bitter and violent side. Guitar's Bane. Destroys his guitar all the time. For him, that's really the highlight of the show. He's not even that big on his own music. Metal Headsman. Obsessed with black metal. He calls himself the devil incarnate. His destructive anarchic ideals make him a dangerous musician. There's a DLC, there's like a $3 DLC that adds this kind of enemy and another kind of random thing as a job class, which is kind of funny. I bought that DLC myself. I got the game as a gift, so I might as well drop a little bit of extra money on DLC to support the devs too. Shaman. Using his supernatural abilities, he casts hexes on the people around him. He is said to appear at the stroke of midnight. Bedeviler. A dark shaman nursing a sinister grudge. Those afflicted by his hexes are certain to meet with dire misfortune. High Necromancer. A master of the occult, he has a plethora of curses at his disposal, said to be able to communicate with the dead. Excavator. You fight an excavator at one point. We're getting to some of the weirder ones. Yes, now we're getting to some of the weirder ones. Just want to get some water, too. Okay. A hydraulic-powered piece of heavy machinery. These days, crime syndicates appreciate its value as a problem solver. Catherine the Bear. A bear that performs in an animal circus. Ringmaster Yasuda has been taking care of her for a long time, but she hasn't really taken to him. Something I find kind of weird about, like, non-human shaped enemies like these two is that they don't have animations. It's just like a flat model just placed right there. Also, that model looks really... I don't want to say bad, but it looks very past-gen, leading me to believe that this might be a reference to like a previous game as well. And maybe the model was taken from that game as well. Because the series, I've been told, is very also well known for like really efficiently and really smartly like reusing tons of assets from past games. And it's why they're able to keep like a very hyper like production line going on these games, because these games come out pretty frequently and they don't really dip in quality ever. Charlotte. A tiger that performs in an animal circus. She's shy, but she seems to listen to Kasuga. Sujimaru. A vacuuming robot invented by Professor Okita. Moves independently, but strong enough to vacuum up entire people. Seiso Shogun. A Sojimaru with even higher suction power. After being modded by an unknown saboteur, it's also far more erratic now. Jo Swashiro. We're also getting to characters with like actual names who are typically bosses you fight in the story. Lieutenant of the Omi Alliance, said to be skilled in various martial arts, as befits an agent of the Arakara the Assassin. Zhang, member of the Yokohama Liumang. Though he's hardly a big name, he puffs up in front of those he deems beneath him. Yamato Totsuka, chief of the Yokohama Seiryu clan. While a skilled fighter, his true strength is his willingness to do whatever it takes to win. Foreman. Just Foreman. Overseer of the Yokohama Liumang's warehouse business. Feared and respected by even the roughest on-site workmen. Mamoru Takabe. Captain of the Yokohama Seiryu clan. A reliable ally to his fellow clan members in a fight or otherwise. Junji Han. Probably my favorite... He's tied for my favorite party member. It's either him or Namba. But he is a boss first. Also, I've been told this character also appears in previous Yakuza games too, and it kind of... yeah. Apparently he, like, dies or something, which is where the, like, plot point of him being, like, a body double in this game comes from. Or, like, this Junji Han being, like, a body double. And when that was brought up, I thought it was brought up kind of suddenly, and I guess... the reason why is because, like, it kind of expects you to know that from previous games, actually. An operative affiliated with the... It's pronounced Comidule, I think, despite having a G. I kind of wonder if that's a Korean thing, because it is, like, a Korean operation. Yeah, I don't really know how to pronounce Korean words that well. A seasoned martial artist, but also well-versed in gunplay and knife fighting. Akira Mabuchi. Officer of the Yokohama Liumang. Ruthless and brutal. He wields Guan Yu's legendary Green Dragon Crescent Blade with ease. Wrecking Ball Crane. My condolences to the recently squished. Hydraulic equipment used for demolition. One hit from its 1-ton wrecking ball, and any building falls like a house of cards. That's funny because I destroyed it using mostly the Gambler class. Reiji Ishioda, lieutenant of the Omni Alliance, revels in combat, but may swiftly turn volatile and violent, flying into a savage frenzy. My other favorite party member, Namba, relies on skills he picked up from both his stints as a nurse and as a Vargant. The king of the kind of guy who'd be a wizard in an RPG. Queen Jin manager. Manages Queen Jin. He's torn apart countless lives and people with his claws. Has years of battle and bloodshed behind him. Mean-eating Beast King. A fierce tiger that was being kept at Kuijing. Its pristine coat of fur leads one to believe it's well taken care of. Matoba. Is this the guy that just came out of nowhere, like... like said he was gonna like cut us and something, and then we just killed him instantly. Like, officer of the Arakawa family, a a para paranoiac. I gotta look up that word later. With a morbid obsession with sharp blades, can't conceive of getting cut himself. This is a pretty infamous character, but of course I only know him from memes and that he's from previous games. His boss fight left a powerful first impression, though. That might have been my favorite fight in the game. Goro Majima. A man of mystery who loves a good fight. He toys with foes in a deadly dance, then tears them apart with his infamous knife. Taiga Saijima. A man of mystery with immeasurable strength. He punches, kicks, and grapples all hit with devastating impact. I think this is the protagonist from previous games. You fight him at some point. Kazuma Kiryu. A legend. Doesn't talk much. He leaves a powerful first impression, too. Dude, his fight was really weird. It's like the first... It's like, besides Majima, he was like the other fight that gave me a lot of trouble. There was one other fight that gave me trouble, but that fight I didn't think was very well designed. This fight was well designed, though. I can't remember the last time I played in, like, an art... Like, actually, no, I can remember. Like, this fight is kind of based around using items. At least that's the way I got around it. And that's a strategy I haven't really seen, like, expected of a boss since, like, the original Golden Sun. Also, he has this weird quirk in his AI where he doesn't hit women. So, like, if you have either of the two female party members in your team, he will never target them. And you can manipulate that to make him easier. That was cool to figure out. And I'm surprised there aren't more enemies like that with, like, certain targeting quirks in their computer, or you know what I mean, like Mirror Face. Not actually Adachi, it's a different character. A perfect hitman and master of disguise. However, disguising himself as Adachi led to a pretty surreal confrontation. I wish this guy got more screen time. Like, someone who can perfectly copy others is a really cool skill I wish more games would do cool stuff with. Yosuke Tendo. This is the other boss that gave me a lot of trouble, and honestly, this was my least favorite fight in the game. Lieutenant of the Omni Alliance. Doesn't take his punches lightly. This guy was almost a world champion of heavyweight boxing. He has a one-hit kill move, and he can target your protagonist with it, and this is one of those games where if the protagonist dies, you get an instant game over. Now given, Ichiban does have a skill that lets him live skills like this, but I didn't know about this when I got to this point because I've been shuffling through all of the other, like, classes and stuff. So I was, like, hard-walled on this boss for a little bit. Like, I think it's kind of bad design if you have to look up how to do a fight and the answer is just, like, one niche move you probably don't even, or you might not even have. I don't know. Ryo Aoki. Also known as Masudo Arakawa, his time in the United States left him with a host of vicious combat techniques. Piss Wizard! Used to piss into the river every day. Public urination was his life's work. Machiavellian Manager. Manager of the Yokohama Shark Stars. Instigated Anzai into injuring Hanayama, a player on the opposing team. Oh, this side quest made me really uncomfortable. Tsushimu-chan, patriarch of the Gondawara family. Susumu Gondawawa, a regular at an infant play brothel, along with reluctant subordinates. This is another one that made me... There's a lot of enemies in this game that make me uncomfortable, dude. Mr. Masochist. Infamously hyper-masochistic. A past attempt at pleasure turned disastrous, hardening his skin. He has felt no pain since then. Il Jin. A former Korean megastar. Also losing the limelight due to a scandal. He's been wallowing in self-pity ever since. Suzuki. Paparazzi who follow Il Jin trying to get a scoop. was trying to extort money for some scandalous photos he had taken. Oh, you do fight him! Yeah, here's Jason! A masked man who spent his nights slicing up beef turned out to be the butcher's son who was practicing his butchery skills. Red Sujimon. A Sujimon badgered by the Sujimon sensei into wearing a red suit. Blue Sujimon. A Sujimon bullied into by Sujimon sensei into wearing a blue suit. Green Sujimon. A Sujimon browbeaten by Sujimon sensei into wearing a green suit. I want more verbs for that. Give me the thesaurus definite or entry for browbeaten. Basho Michio. Ono Michio won me over. That was a fun character, even though, again, this was my first exposure to him. Apparently one of the other games takes place in, his town, the town he's from. A poor quality version of the regional mascot Ono Michio was illicitly selling counterfeit figures as the genuine article. Yeah, I love Japanese mascots, so this character in, his real version that was a fun side quest. Gomi, owner of a pawn shop, unable to sell the items that reminded him of his late wife. His shop became more of a junk hoard. Clara and her excavator. A power shovel operator by Clara-chan, a chimpanzee who normally performs in an animal circus. One of the more absurdist missions in the game. Tosano Yama, a sumo wrestler from a small sumo stable, was practicing his tackles on a significant permission tree. Gutter Sniper, a military fanatic, was practicing his shots of a brand new toy rifle he purchased online. Locker Warlord, or Warlock. Tried casting a hex using a straw doll. Damaged a permission tree to curse his girlfriend and her lover. Hero. CEO of PartTimeHero.com. He attacks Kasuga, mistaking him as the target of a request to subdue someone. Middling Manager. Businessman of a large company. Knows Akari from vocational school, but envy of his intellect consumed him with spite. Trader's Trader. Businessman of a security company, knows Akari from vocational school, but envy of his intellect consumed him with spite. Then finally, Sujimon Sensei. Dedicates his life to researching Sujimon. His ultimate goal is to completely fill the Sujidex, which I have done. This was an absolutely fantastic game, and I talked before about how I don't really have a lot of energy to 100% games this big anymore. So a strategy I do is I try to pick one thing that looks fun to 100% and then 100% that. The Sujidex was that thing for this game. I thought this would be a fun video to make. And yeah, that was very fun to read through all of those. And that's the Sujidex. Alright, I will see you folks later. Thanks for watching.